Yeah, we voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe because we have a lot to talk about today. The timeline is an absolutely shambles. We got new flocks in tears over losing their jobs, Trump supporters realizing their FAFO, and Republicans in North Carolina actually regretting their votes. It's a mess and we are diving deep into all of it. So grab your popcorn because this one is wide.
I just got a call from my work and they let me know that I was getting laid off today, and so I was laid off from work today. And it's a lot. Like, there's the fires going on in LA. My birthday just happened a few days ago. I thought this was going to be my year and I just got laid off. I've been at this company for over 6 years and I don't even know what to do. Obviously, I have to file for unemployment. I'm just like in shock. But here's the biggest thing. A few months ago, I filed a sexual assault investigation at work because something happened. And around like December, they finally finished the investigation. And they really didn't do anything. And a month later, here I am getting let go, and I just feel like this seems very fishy, and I don't know too much about the law. But if there's any lawyers on here, and if somebody can help me, if I have a case here, let me know. But yeah, I don't know what to do.
The fact that a lot of white women thought that DEI meant minority or black people, that it didn't include them, is the funniest thing to me. Because white women are DEI hires majority of the time. They benefit from DEI initiatives. So the fact that you would vote against your own interests and then get upset that this is happening to you is just like hilarious to me. What do you mean you didn't realize that you were the diversity hire? Like, you're a woman and you think that you have an equal playing field in this game as a white man? The fact that we have this program set in place stops companies from discriminating against you based off your gender. So I just don't understand why you would think that, oh my God, I'm in the same playing field as a white man, because you never will be. You actively voted against your rights to appease white men, and you're going to pay the consequences for that. DEI does not just mean black people. As a white woman, that also affects you.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. Yes, my kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need, right? Worked for me, why would it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed, all right? And now I feel like I see them struggling, and before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled, but there's a difference between struggling and drowning, all right? So we struggled, and it was tough, but you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. It seems like kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point, all right? When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour, and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on, and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college, or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? Why? Like, I just don't get it. So I don't even think that there's even classes anymore. There used to be, upper class, middle class, lower class. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy, and then everybody else is just poor. Like, that's what is happening. And then I told him, hey, when you turn 25, at least your car insurance will go down. Hell no, he turned 25, and his car insurance went up $150. I tell him, if you need health insurance, get a good job. He has health insurance. He has had a medical emergency this week. Had to go to the emergency room twice. He had to go to the emergency room because he couldn't get anybody to see him with the health insurance that he had. right? So he had to go to an emergency room. Now he's out money for that too. It seems like you can never get ahead. And then my daughter, I told her all you have to do, because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paid double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount. And then her mortgage company, after she's already moved in, said, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you that you need this type of coverage, which we forgot at the beginning. That's an extra $200 you've been paying a month. And all they see when they come home is they watch social media, kids their age, on lavish vacations with all this money and nothing to do, all these social media influencers, because we value those types of things over hard workers. We will pay them $10,000, but you work 40 hours a week, you can't afford it.
Yeah, we voted for Trump because he promised while he was campaigning like a million times that when he got into office, he was going to bring down prices, bring down grocery prices. The inflation has been high ever since COVID, and he promised he would bring that down, but it's obvious to me now that that was not true. Egg prices have skyrocketed. The bird flu is killing all the birds, and he doesn't seem to be doing anything about that. He's stopping disease communications from the disease centers in America, pulled us out of the WHO. Like, how does that help anything? And yeah, all he's been doing is taking away rights and freedoms, or trying to. He's not doing anything about the economy. So yeah, we totally regret our vote at this point. We've had a really tough time here in North Carolina. Half of my house got washed away in Hurricane Helene, and I applied for FEMA assistance and we got approved. But now Trump is canceling FEMA and emergency assistance to people. He's also canceled Medicaid for my children. I know they said they put a halt on his freezing of the funds, but the Medicaid portal is still not working, so we can't access anything for our children's health insurance.
I'm making this video a little longer because this is gonna be a hard conversation for a lot of people, but I think it needs to be said. And I have been trying to say this for the last few years. I think it's very clear by now that veterans and military spouses are about to be laid off en masse. The veteran community is going to really struggle for a while, and it's going to be very scary, and we need to make sure that we are there for each other and we're doing everything we can, because a lot of these DEI layoffs include veterans and military spouses. Military spouses already have a really, really hard time getting jobs. It's been proven. There's been many studies done. You know, I was a part of a bunch of panels, and, you know, I did a lot when I was way more an advocate years ago before I was laid off from Meta. And I tried to do whatever I could to help people understand, but for a really long time, I think the message just got really muddled. So I want to talk about it now. Nobody wants to just sit at home and not feel fulfilled. So military spouses are able to get jobs, they're able to start their own businesses. There's lots of different things. There's lots of different things that people want to do. And we're not all women, so we need to make sure that, you know, we understand too that there are men out there that are military spouses as well, and there are dual military, and there's all sorts of stuff. But it is very hard when you move every 2 to 3 years to maintain a career. And especially after I got laid off from Meta, that was one of the final straws that led to my divorce. Give me 1 second. I know I haven't talked about it on here, but one thing that ended up happening after I was laid off from Meta was I realized I need a career. I need to I need to be able to excel. I need to you can't just depend on anyone. And it's really tough when you go from place to place and your stock isn't able to vest and you basically are just not able to save for retirement, and you're having to use any emergency money to fill in the gaps between moves. It's really difficult. And especially when you feel obligated to pay his bill first, because if you have a spouse that has a security clearance, you have to make sure your credit is stays outstanding. So there's a lot of stuff, and it's really difficult when you have kids, and it's getting even harder with daycare. So I just wanted to come on here, I guess, and just remind people that these DEI initiatives that everyone is saying are awful, they include veterans and spouses too. And when a spouse can't work, sometimes that also impacts the mental health of the veteran. I don't want to even touch on that, but yeah, it's hard. I just wanted to, I guess, make a longer video just saying that I had multiple reasons why I didn't sign the meta severance, but I think that the biggest thing people need to know is that, you know, when I worked at Meta, we were training AI tools to look at different markers or indicators on LinkedIn profiles for someone who could be diverse. So it dawned on me that if we can do that, they can kind of reverse engineer it to avoid any candidates. Like companies can do that to avoid hiring any candidates that are seen as diverse. And for me to know that all veterans and military spouses are just going to have so many more barriers to employment, like, we have to make sure that doesn't happen. So, yeah. I don't want to make this too much longer, but I definitely would be open to speaking to people about this, because I think that it is going to be a really big deal, and a lot of people they may not be personally impacted, but someone they love could be impacted. So check on your veterans, people you know that are veterans and military spouses. And if you are an employer and you can do more to learn about hiring veterans and military.
All right, welcome to another episode of Trump Supporters Are Fucking Around and Finding Out, Part Infinity. First of all the Latinos for Trump. How y'all like them caravans? Boy, I done seen video after video. Them goddamn F-150s and Silverados packed to the brim. Headed back to them goddamn Mexico streets. Like, hey, it shouldn't be funny, but the only reason it's funny is because, like, niggas told y'all, bro. For all those blacks for Trump who are getting on, finding out that their job offers done got rescinded. Because, you know, they took away DEI and inclusion and affirmative action and all that shit. Ha. Ha. Ha 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 ha. For people like John Basham and Tyler Anderson. See, John Basham down here, he has a problem. And his problem is that his wife just got hired. She was supposed to get hired at the VA down in Waco, Texas. And they've relocated, packed up, and moved and did everything to prepare for her dream job. Now that Trump took away the DEI and placed that hiring freeze on all federal workers, his wife's job got rescinded. And now he's upset. His wife's dream job was to work with needy disabled veterans who fall under DEI. Mind you, he's DEI also because he's a disabled vet himself. Now their family is lost with no clear path of what to do. She was supposed to start working in the next 2 weeks, the 1st of February-ish. But we are all huge Trump supporters, and I know this was an unintended consequence. Even when it's in your face, you have so much pride and ego in your whiteness that you can't even admit that you got duped. I'm sure veterans medical care professionals were not the target of this EO. Well, in fact, buddy, y'all were. That Doge thing that Elon and Vivek was supposed to be on, their first thing was said that they were going to cut the VA. See, veterans benefits, like, our compensation and stuff, is a separate entity than the actual VA. Those are two different things, buddy. And they made it very clear and cut that they were going to dismantle the VA because, budget cuts, right? And they were ineffective despite being understaffed and mismanaged. So instead of actually hiring enough staff to properly manage the VA, they rather dismantle it. Yeah. And the fact that you tagged the White House, Trump, and Ted Cruz, you mean the same Ted Cruz that every time they say it's a snowstorm coming to Texas, that nigga is in Mexico? That Ted Cruz left y'all freezing in the cold. What is that, 2021? Pipes was bursting and people was freezing to death out there in Dallas and Texas. That Ted Cruz. And Mr. Tyler, he was supposed to start working at the VA out in Virginia. Gone. Now Mr. Basham wants to call people in D.C. Huh, no, buddy, no. Then goes on to say that the federal senior executive service bureaucrats are pissed that one of Trump's executive orders took away their job protections. And now they're trying to harm veterans' health care and veterans by misapplying Trump's hiring freeze EO to hires that should be exempt. No, buddy, they were not exempt. Elon made very clear that they were going to dismantle the VA. They're doing this to make Trump look bad. And again, our veteran benefits, as far as compensation, is completely separate from the VA. Those are two different things. See, but this is what happens when you treat politicians and politics like your favorite sports team or a WWE SummerSlam. That's what happens. Instead of worrying and actually asking and reading and understanding the actual policies that they plan to implement. Because like I always say, white people heard dog whistle words, DEI, the woke, the left, inclusion, and instantly thought black people. Kind of like when Reagan implemented dog whistle words such as welfare queen, and Bill Clinton called black people super predators. And it's crazy because it's only been 3 days. It's Thursday. We're on the fourth day. The fourth day of this shit.
Alright, let's start with the viral video of a white woman crying because she got fired from her day job. And listen, nobody wants to be unemployed, but the reaction to this has been interesting. So, diversity, equality, and inclusion became a big focus after 2020. Companies rushed to hire people to make workspace more inclusive, and a lot of white allies jumped in, leading day programs. But now companies are cutting costs, and guess what is getting slashed first? Day programs. And who is losing their jobs? The same people who were put in the charge of making things fairer. Some vlogs online are sympathetic, but others are saying, welcome to the struggle. Because let's be real, how many times have black and brown people been hired for diversity and then been the first ones out when budgets got tight? This is not new. Now, white professionals who thought they were secured in these roles are getting a taste of what it feels like when a company suddenly decides your job is inexpendable. But it's not just about corporate layoffs. These cuts are hitting veterans and military response too. A lot of their initiatives focus on helping former service members transition into civil jobs. With these roles gone, a lot of veterans are struggling to find work again. And the irony, some of these same flocks were cheering on the cut, not realizing they were cutting their own safety nets. Now they are on TikTok like, wait, this affects me too. And then we have North Carolina Republican who are suddenly regretting voting for Trump. The election was just a few months ago and people are already saying they made a mistake. That's wild. Turn out a lot of folks voted thinking Trump would fix the economy. They thought prices would drop, jobs would come back, and everything would magically get better. But now businesses are closing, unemployment is creeping up, and inflation hasn't disappeared like they hoped. And now some of them are realizing maybe Biden wasn't the problem. One voter literally said, I thought Trump would make things cheaper, but everything gets worse. Sir, we tried to tell you, but here's the thing. Regret doesn't pay the bill. And policy Trump is pushing like cutting funds to programs that help struggling communities are hitting HIS voters and hardest. The same people who wanted tax cuts are realizing those cuts didn't help them. The same people who wanted less government are now asking why there is no help when they need it. And speaking of regret, we're gonna talk about these white flogs who are breaking down on TikTok, realizing that life in America has no future. People are posting videos crying about how they can't afford a house, their wages are too low, and everything feels hopeless. And honestly, welcome to what marginalized communities have been saying for years. The system isn't built for regular people to succeed, it's built for the wealthy. And now the middle class is feeling that pressure more than ever. The American dream used to mean that if you worked hard, you could own a home, raise a family, and retire comfortably. But now wages hasn't keeping up with inflation. Rent is skyrocketing. Healthcare is a joke, and even people with college degrees are struggling. The whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality isn't working because the boosts don't come with straps anymore. And finally, we're gonna talk about Trump supporters FAFO'ing. People who swore up and down that Biden was the problem are now realizing Trump's policy are hurting them too. Taxes are going up for some middle class families. Job cuts are happening and benefits they relied on getting slashed. And the internet has zero empathy. The comment section are full of people saying we try to tell you all because every time people warn about Trump's policy, the supporters brushed it off like that is not gonna affect me. Well, now it is. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion, but the passenger voted for the engineer and now they are mad that the train is crashing. The question is, will they actually learn or is this just temporary outrage? Let me know what you all think in the comments. Are we witnessing the full collapse of the American dream? Will these voters actually change or is it just another cycle of regrets? Thank you for watching and let's continue this conversation in the comments below. Let us share our thoughts and perspective with one another. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay updated on this story and more. I will see you in the next video.